Welcome to another edition of Off the Boards. I'm your host, Logan Olivier, and on tonight's show, I'm going to be talking about someone who is very dear to all our hearts. But I'm not just going to be telling you a story or doing an interview. I'm going to be telling a tale of intrigue, heartbreak, triumph, and courage. And above all else, unbridled enthusiasm. I'm speaking, of course, of the Thunderwolves' beloved mascot, Wolfie. First of all, I'd like to welcome Wolfie to the show and say, you don't do this very often. In fact, this is a global exclusive interview.
Well, first I'd like to say thanks for having me, Logan. I don't really like the whole interview thing, and Barbara Walters had contacted me the other week to get before the Oscars, and I just couldn't do it. I felt that it was time, though, for me to do something like this, and what better opportunity than on the official voice of the Thunderwolves on Rock 94.
I really appreciate it. This is a great honor for me to have you on the show. I'm a huge fan, by the way. But one thing that I want to know is what makes Wolfie the wolf he is?
I will have to say it was my very good friend, Howla. I met her when I was a young pup. We kind of grew up together. And she told me when she was about 16, 17, she said, "Wolfie, I'm going to be a star." And I believed Howla. She was beautiful. She had exactly what it took to be a star. And she took off. She's like, "I'm going to go. I want to be a mascot for a soccer team in England." And she was gone. And for a year, I didn't know what to do with myself. So I took off and went to join her, and just watching her do the things that she did, bring smiles to all the fans' faces, and just really get the team energized. Like, she was a really huge part of that soccer club in England, and I dedicate it to her. But the sad thing is that I wish she was here now to kind of support me, but we lost her in a very tragic soccer riot that kind of got out of control, and it's just...
Yeah, well, we won't stick to the sad part, because I know you get quite emotional thinking about that. You finished great in school, in high school, and then you went off to Oxford, and you were the first wolf to ever be accepted into Oxford.
It was a pretty prestigious honor. I mean, there's been a couple cats that have gone into Oxford, but I was the first wolf, and the reason why I did it was because I figured might as well go into law school, make some money, so that me and Howla can have a good life together, and take care of her. But I realized it wasn't for me. The whole academia thing, it works for some people. For me, it just wasn't my calling. I felt I was destined for greater things.
So then you quit school after 3 years of law, you're telling me, and then you went to, you kind of traveled around different sporting events, really trying to build your repertoire of moves so you could really get the fans energized. Tell me a bit about what you learned on your travels.
Well, I learned a lot of things because in Europe there's a lot of different sports, and they're very popular, and the fans are very passionate. And mascots take their own sort of style to each event, and especially to each different sport. So I went to soccer games, rugby games, cricket matches. There's this rooster, Rocky the Rooster, for this team in Italy. He did this thing with these rocket shoes, and there was like on the verge of being a brawl at the soccer game, and he put these rocket shoes on, went flying into the air, and did a bicycle kick with a soccer ball and scored from halfway across the field, and no more fighting.
That's impressive.
All the fans were really excited, and they didn't care what color jerseys people were wearing.
You traveled to Europe, and you came back here, but from what you told me before, you kind of fell in some hard times, but you got your break. Tell me a bit about that.
Yeah, I was really down on my luck here. There wasn't a lot going for me in my life. I spent every dime I made, so I came back to town, and I was cheering at bowling alleys. Cheering for nickels isn't a good way for a wolf to make a living. And the Thunderwolves were there they came by the bowling alley for team building night, and they were bowling very well. And there was a team cohesion there that I hadn't seen. They really noticed me, and they came up and said, "You know what? You may have what it takes to be our mascot," because they were really looking for a mascot, and they invited me to this tryout. And it was a rigorous process. It was great, though, because it really inspired me, and it was one of the most amazing things. I was weeping at the end of it because this team saw something in me. The rest is history. Here I am.
Now that you've been the mascot for quite a while, what is your favorite thing to do at the games to really get the fans riled up?
My personal favorite, I like the fist pound. Very good way to personalize things. But if we're going to do a mass approach, chucking the football into the crowd, it's nice and low key. And I have a couple things I'm working on that I haven't really... I got to fine tune some things, but I got some big things in store for fans that I think are going to take things to the next level.
I noticed one thing you really like doing is rubbing your behind against the glass of the opposition's bench.
It's not so much that I like to do that. It's I get enjoyment out of it. I just really have to do it. It's something that I have to do. And that spot in particular, it's the perfect spot to get it all out. So that's where I go. That's my place.
Thanks a lot, Wolfie, for coming here. I really appreciate it. I'm just going to throw it out there. I'm your number one fan, and having your first ever interview has been a great honor. So thanks for coming.
You know what? You threw it out there. I caught it, and I'm throwing it back. You are a gem, Logan, and I'm really happy that you gave me this opportunity. We have the best fans on the planet, and I'm really happy to be a part of the team. And when I come back next year, I'll keep you in mind, bud.
Well, thanks a lot, Wolfie. That has been Wolfie. You're listening to Thunderwolves Hockey on Rock 94.